I don't really know why they're rushing him back. Are they really in a panic? They think they're gonna fall completely off the map without him until he heals. It's an MCL. Everyone knows this is an injury that you can recover from, but if you come back before it's healed, all the other ligaments are now in peril as you're running around because it helps protect some of the other movements. So I remember, I'm pretty sure I remember watching Phillip Rivers back in the day play on a torn MCL and then end up tearing his ACL, and he still ended up playing on it because he's crazy Phillip Rivers. But and people don't realize how tough that guy was. But at the same time, like let's face it, guys, this is dangerous. They're risking him. They just showed that they can win a game against a not great team by never throwing the ball, basically, and just running like a high school offense with just good run game skills. So why not do it again?
And your offensive line has proven that they can block for him. This is actually a pretty good run blocking team. That's what they are. So it doesn't make any sense what they're doing right now and putting your star franchise quarterback in harm's way against a team that are going to be gunning for his legs. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to knock him out. I don't care what anybody says that teams aren't that vicious. Teams are vicious. Teams were willing to do whatever it takes to win a football game. And if you can knock Jordan Love out of the game and you get an early lead, the fans, everything's going to slow right in front of Tennessee. Everything's going to speed right in front of their eyes. And I think Will Levis, as bad as he's looked, all he has to do is smell blood. And if he smells blood, the Packers could go into the game, lose their star quarterback for the rest of the season, and there goes their season. They have a chance to really go far in the playoffs if Jordan Love stays healthy. Big mistake.
We saw it last week. Levis is garbage, and the Jets almost still lost to him. Yep. But he's a turnover machine. The guy just makes really dumb decisions with the ball. Like, you like how gutsy he is. If you're going to be a supporter of his, you like that he's a tough guy, that he's going to mix it up. He's got arm talent. You see that there's obviously skills. But it's like we saw this with Zach Wilson. If you don't understand the game at a high enough level and you're just kind of dumb about your decision-making, there's no place for you in this league. And I think that's what's going to end up with Levis. So why do you have to do anything different than he did last week? Just run the ball. You have legendary offensive line coach, father of the head coach over here. This is just do it again. Keep him healthy. Maybe this is smokescreen. Maybe they're just – I know as a coach, I would want the other team have to prepare for Jordan Love and waste all those reps and all that attention when all they're really going to do is just run the ball and run play action and like bootlegs with Malik Willis. So maybe that's just, some gamesmanship by the coaching staff, because it just doesn't make sense to bring him back that soon. If they do bring him back, hey, they're playing with fire.
That they are.
All right, put Keith on. Keith, we can't keep you on too long. We have a lot of stuff to get into. What's up, buddy?
Actually, I wanted to. What do you think about Shohei Ohtani's game today?
We haven't even gotten into Shohei Ohtani. We do have a segment.
Real quick.
We have a segment.
No.
Oh, you're going to talk about it after?
We're going to talk about, we have a Shohei Ohtani segment. We will talk about his season. I still think.
No, today's game, I mean.
Yeah, 6 for 6. I know 10 RBIs. It's a great game. Again.
Insane.
That's great. It's great what Shohei Ohtani is doing. But is it going to help the Dodgers win a championship? That's the question. You're paying him $70 million, I hope.
I don't think they have enough pitch. Well, he's worth every penny because of, obviously.
I would never put him on the mound again. Okay, I would have him as a DH for the rest of his career.
I can see that, but they're talking about maybe having him pitch in the playoffs.
They're idiots. They're another idiot organization.
I think you just Rodgers. You can see last week he was taking some good throws.
Yes,
right. He looked sharp as hell, man. Back to his.
Still worried.
I know it's against New England, but you could just tell he's right back, man.
I hope so. Again, this is the second half. You see that him and Robert Saleh.
They'll be a New England ball.
I don't know if you watched that, but when Robert Saleh tried to hug him, he pushed off of him and he looked at him. He gave him a dirty look. So it didn't.
I didn't.
Oh, you got it. We'll show
I actually got video of it. Hold on.
We'll show you the video right here.
No, I believe you.
Look at the video.
I don't blame him.
I mean, there's a video.
Give him the balls.
I think he realized that Robert Saleh doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So
they look. I think they did all right tonight though with he playing Allen in there. I kind of hope I might be wishing I start him tonight because
he doesn't look happy. I'm telling you, Aaron Rodgers does not look happy. So as much as they're,
I don't know.
he doesn't.
Typical focus on Rodgers.
Well, we'll see.
But everything's right on the money, man.
Well,
he's just throwing that quick release. He just looks great.
I hope so.
And I know it's New England, but the line is playing great too.
Yes, I'll tell you this: McDonald's is a real deal.
My God, he looks unbelievable.
Will McDonald is the real deal. For all you Jet fans that hated it and booed it, and I told you guys I like this kid. Boy, oh boy, he's already got 4 sacks in 2 games.
He looks great.
He looks really good.
You're right about that. He's improved 100% from his last year already. They knew what they had in him. Hey, let me one thing about Love. They didn't say they're starting him, did they?
Yeah, they did. They didn't say
they have to start him?
50-50 on him starting. He practiced on Thursday.
They might be doing that. Maybe just get the other team to prep for him. You never know. I'd be shocked if he started, but if he does, I think they wouldn't. I don't think they'd risk his career, let alone their season.
I don't know. This is the Green Bay Packers.
But Tennessee is favored by 2.5.
Yeah. I still don't think they're going to win.
So. No, I think Green Bay can win with that. I mean, Tennessee could, but I think Green Bay's still a better team. Even if they lose, so what? Green Bay. It's not worth risking them.
Their division is so wide open right now, except Minnesota. That's been really, really odd. But Minnesota's games are going to get harder. Okay.
This week.
Yeah, they're going to hit a harder skid. So I don't think it's going to be that easy.
No, they're going to be. Hey, no one expects them to do what they're doing at all.
No.
But yeah, for real, it's a good division. Detroit's only going to play better, probably, but who knows?
Sauce.
Anyway, I'm with you on everything today, man.
All right, man. But, we appreciate you. Keep listening, my friend.
Yeah, I will. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Keith, it's 3rd and 4. Here we go with the Jets' woes on 3rd downs and stopping teams on 3rd downs. I'm telling you, it's bound to happen, and I think I'm smelling it. I smell the New York Jets falling apart very, very soon. We will see, but
I'm actually like 15 seconds ahead of you guys over there in the game for some reason. I can see it before it's happening. So this has actually been very entertaining for me.
Well, because we're actually watching. We're watching on my stick. I don't have it. So we're like 8 or 9 seconds slower than you. So there you go. Now, I want to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame announcement. 16 first-time nominees that are eligible this season. 2 members of the Seahawks Super Bowl championship team were nominated, Earl Thomas and Marshawn Lynch. 2 members of the Broncos Super Bowl championship team nominated, Talib and Thomas, who passed away. May he rest in peace. Luke Kuechly and Terrell Suggs, 2 linebackers on the ballot for the first time. Did they go on it again? What happened over here? It was a kick?
Yeah, it was a punt return.
Okay, I'm not getting a chance to read it. Eli Manning was the only quarterback eligible this year of that draft class. Phillip Rivers will be eligible next year, and so will Ben Roethlisberger after. Jared Allen, Fred Taylor, Antonio Gates, Reggie Wayne, and Torrey Holt are some notable finalists last year that just missed the cut, but still have eligibility this year. I'm going to tell you this right now. Antonio Gates is definitely in. 100% in. Reggie Wayne, definitely in. And Torrey Holt, definitely in. I think all 3 of those guys should be in. Absolutely should be in after all this time waiting. Eli Manning will not be in this year. He'll be in next year. I think he's a second-year ballot Hall of Famer. I do not see him going in because I think Earl Thomas is a great player, but everything that happened outside of the NFL, I think it's going to hold him in. Marshawn Lynch is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, so I do not believe it. Talib is interesting, but he's had some problems and woes in the NFL too, so I think it'll hold him out this year. Terrell Suggs is first ballot Hall of Famer, and so is Luke Kuechly. I see 5 guys going in. Demaryius Thomas is not a first ballot. I think he'll get in on a 3rd or 4th ballot. I don't think he's a first or second ballot Hall of Famer, but he will get in. I think it's Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Antonio Gates, Reggie Wayne, and not Fred Taylor yet. I think Fred Taylor another year, and Torrey Holt. I think all 5 of those guys will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this coming year. I think the first ballot guy that's going to go in is I think it's Terrell Suggs. I think this is his first time in it.
Yep.
So I think Terrell Suggs is the best guy on that ballot, and then Luke Kuechly. So I think both those guys are definitely Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
so.
they retired the same year because Kuechly retired young, and that was the argument with Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis made it first ballot, so both similar level type of linebackers they ended up getting in. So Luke Kuechly, from that standpoint alone, will have a chance.
Terrell Suggs is better.
Terrell Suggs is definitely better.
Yes.
Terrell Suggs is, I thought, better all time than you look at DeMarcus Ware, who got in last year too. Like they're probably interchangeable, and Ware got in a year before that, which was interesting. So Terrell Suggs has to be in now. Like if the
this is his first year.
Yes, because remember he also played on the Chiefs like that last year when they won the Super Bowl.
He's definitely a first ballot Hall of Fame. There's no question. I think Terrell Suggs is a phenomenal player. He did win a Super Bowl. I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, Antonio Gates easily should be in. The fact that he's not in, he's probably the second greatest.
He's definitely going in this year. 100%. Mark my words. He's a Hall of Famer this year. There's no question. It's so crazy when you look at the list of guys that are borderline Hall of Famers. They are, but I think Earl Thomas is definitely a Hall of Famer. Safety was one of the best safeties for 7 or 8 years. He was dominant. He was a dominant force on that Seattle Legion of Boom team. But because of the things that he's done off the field, I don't think he's ever going to be inducted. I just don't see it. No. I cannot see him being inducted into Hall of Fame. The way the NFL and the board is, they're very stingent and stingy with all that stuff. And Marshawn Lynch, he will be a Hall of Fame. I just don't think he's a first or second year ballot. Running backs are very, very hard to be first ballot. Davis was. Terrell Davis, I don't think he was a Hall of Famer, but he was so loved by so many different people. That's why he went in. And he won 2 Super Bowls. Marshawn Lynch won 1. Okay, so, and he should have won 2, but thank you to, Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, that didn't happen. And who knows? I mean, Russell Wilson probably would have been more beloved if they actually won that second Super Bowl. So it's crazy. I mean, you look at the list. Even Fred Taylor is definitely a Hall of Famer. I just think he's not quite there yet. He
had more peak years than Lynch did. Lynch obviously had maybe the better individual seasons, but even Taylor had some tremendous individual seasons as well with Jacksonville, an expansion team that usually has to merit something too. Sometimes you need that spark in the franchise for a young team like the Jaguars too. And that's the same kind of thing with the Ravens or a younger team. Terrell Suggs was probably after Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, that next star with that team for years and revolutionized what the Ravens defense was even that middle 2000s on. And he did a great job with that for years too. And we were talking about with so many other teams, great longevity with them after that as well.
Well, Aaron Rodgers again ran out of the pocket. The players went out, and he actually pulled the players away from the other guys because the guy apologized. Obviously. So hey, listen, it's good sportsmanship. It is Aaron Rodgers, and everybody wants to kiss his ass. I mean, go ahead, kiss it. I don't know what more to say about it. I mean,
everyone wants to kiss his ass except for Stewart.
That's right. Stewart Schweiger couldn't. But again, he actually, he bit his tongue.
Yeah, he did.
He bit his tongue because he said, "Hey, listen, I never played with him. I don't know him personally, so I can't make that judgment. I just know players and people that have played with him. So do we, and a lot of, pretty much all of them told us he's fine. He's a good teammate. He's very fun to play with, and he's actually good on and off the field. He likes to play video games. He likes to hang out with the boys. So I don't know where Stewart Schweiger got it, and I know he's not going to give us any names, but very interesting story when he said that. But again, I mean, what are your thoughts, Fish? Who do you think goes to the Hall of Fame?
There's definitely one guy that you did not cover, and it's because you overlooked the kicker very often. Adam Vinatieri is up for Hall of Fame as well. He's 100% going to be that guy because of the Super Bowl
first
kicks.
Ballot?
The first ballot. He played for like 22 years or something like that.
I don't know if they're going to put a kicker
ever.
I don't think they're going to do that. I'm just saying. I don't see it.
He won 2 Super Bowls.
I know. I got it. I just don't think they're going to do that. How many kickers have been in the Hall of Fame? 1?
It's great.
I mean,
well,
it's not going to be.
Don't you think this is the guy, though?
I like him. I agree with you. I think he's a Hall of Famer. First ballot Hall of Famer for all the things that he's done. What the hell is going on here? Oh, yeah. Conklin. That's Conklin. Oh, Rucker. Hey!
You better hope as a Jets fan you better hope you don't knock Jacoby Brissett out of this game and you end up with 20 years later Drake May is Tom Brady and he comes in and then like leads them to 20 years of success.
Stop.
Like look, it's possible. You got him really good on that. Will McDonald was wreaking havoc last
I will
drive.
say this. I will say this about Aaron Rodgers. He's got his rhythm. He's got his rhythm back. I know everybody said that he's not the same quarterback. I think people are going to disagree with that after this. And where's Nick Wright? Where is he on social media? Can anybody go to Nick Wright right now on social media and see what he's writing? Because that guy's a complete idiot. He is a fool. For all the dissing of Aaron Rodgers, and listen, I'm still worried about their protection, but this offensive line has played pretty fairly good. I mean, for the first 2 games of the season, I think they're a top 10 offensive line. I don't think I'm lost on that. I think they've protected Aaron Rodgers pretty damn well. And we haven't even seen Olu Fashanu yet. Okay, this is their first round draft pick. And hopefully we don't see him this year. And I'm not saying that because I don't think he's going to be good. It says that Smith is healthy, Morgan Moses is healthy, and Simmons is healthy. But I think that it's unbelievable. They definitely have the depth this year. And Elijah Vera Tucker has been pretty damn good too. So he's going to be asking for a nice big contract at the end of the season as well. But I would agree with you. Adam Vinatieri is definitely there. I don't know if I give Adam Vinatieri out of all these guys a first ballot. Because Antonio Gates is the second best tight end of all time, and maybe of all
I'll never understand. I'll never understand why Gates didn't get in last year.
Kelce will be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he's married or is dating Taylor Swift. I mean, that's the only reason why. I mean,
Fish, you want to hear another?
I do not want.
In the Hall of Fame, a different type of Hall of Fame for that.
I do not want Greg DeLake to kick the ball right now. I mean, I've seen enough of Greg. Now he missed a very easy kick. Okay, I do not want to see him kick.
Fish, before you make your point about Gates, I just want to mention another great beef take. The beef called and decided to make the take of Jason Witten being better all time than Antonio Gates.
That's crazy. Wooden was great, but in a very different way. Look, I have a case for Eli, though. I have one case for Eli.
Where do you have him? Where do you have him?
I'm sorry.
I'm asking you, where do you have him? Eli Manning. Where do you have him?
I have him going first ballot because there's precedent for a guy like this to go first ballot. Joe Namath was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Was Joe
with one less touchdown.
Oh,
sorry. How many more interceptions than touchdowns does Joe Namath have? Let's look at the stats if you're going to complain about Eli and having having the picks. Because let's face it, Eli had a much better career than Joe Namath. He did.
No question. But Joe Namath is like loved by everybody. I have no idea because
I love Eli Manning's pranks to people that I hear about.
Oh, I think he's funny. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt he's funny. But is funny going to get him a first ballot Hall of Fame look? I don't know. What are they doing here? Just throw the damn ball. There you go.
I would like to see more 2-back sets from them. They're really
Did I not tell you that
they
need to bring the tight ends in tonight? Did I not tell you that?
They are, and they're doing a good job of that. Yeah. But they're really, they're just going on and off with Hall and Allen and not using them together, which I think is a big mistake. Like, do you really if you can have a set with 2 backs and a blocking tight end. You don't need to just do it this way. Get them both on the field. Give teams and then split out Hall wide. Have him to be the motion guy so you can get to your trip sets, so you get to your more regular things. Be more creative, Hackett. I mean,
you're talking about
so vanilla.
Stop it. That's the Jets. Vanilla. And by the way, Aaron Rodgers looks healthy running outside of the pocket. He looks like the old Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see. This is only the Patriots. I want to see him continue doing this as the season progressively moves forward. He does look good tonight. There's no question. Keith is right. He looks good. It is the Patriots. So and again, he doesn't look very happy at any point of this game. He does not look happy. So, and he didn't want to hug Robert Saleh either. All right, Tommy, who do you got into right now in the Hall of Fame?
Honestly, I'm going to piggyback straight off of Fish's picks, honestly. I like the Adam Vinatieri pick only also because of how long he was just such a dominant kicker for as well, too. Like, if you think about it, the only other kicker that's a for sure 100% Hall of Famer in my eyes is, of course, Justin Tuck. Once he retires, Justin Tucker is going to definitely be a first ballot Hall of Famer too. But I know you don't like Eli making the first ballot Hall of Fame. I truly do believe he can make a first ballot. He can make his case for first ballot. I mean, he's top 10 in passing for everything touchdowns.
I never said he wasn't good. A lot of people don't like Eli Manning. I like Eli Manning. I just don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think Phillip Rivers has a better chance of being a first ballot Hall of Famer because not because of the Super Bowl, it's just because of just the numbers. The numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
his numbers are really good. Yeah.
he's top 6, top 7 all time in a lot of the numbers. People just look at him. He's never won a Super Bowl. He also played on a torn ACL and went to an AFC title game, I think it was, or a
Yeah, the
divisional
AFC
game.
title game.
Yes.
That was against the undefeated Patriots. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, that was pretty incredible that he did that. But nevertheless, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, just going off of that again, like I just also just because I love Eli, man. I don't know if it just sounds biased or whatnot, man, but I just think
Most Giant fans don't.
man, I don't know what it is. I went to the what is it? I think it was the year after Eli retired too. I went to the what is it? The Buccaneers and Giants game over in Raymond James Stadium. I think the Raymond James stadium is really nice and everything. A lot of Giants fans were just not happy with, or were just so excited actually that the fact that was the first year after that Eli Manning had retired. And I was honestly surprised. I'm like, I don't know how you could just disrespect some man that did such great stuff for our organization. Of course it wasn't for, a long time after that, but personally, I have Eli going in the first ballot in my eyes. Personally.
Try living the Jets' life as far as quarterbacks are concerned. I mean, Giant fans are complaining. Seriously, 4 Super Bowls in 40 years, and they're complaining about that.
What he said, so overrated. My God,
Eli. All right, let's get into this story. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport says that the Panthers are not expected to trade Bryce Young despite his benching. Dave Canales says that he still sees Bryce Young as their franchise quarterback, despite naming Andy Dalton as their starter. The Rams and the Browns are 2 teams that had interest in trading for Young. Ryan Leaf also took shots at the Panthers organization, saying that they screwed up from the beginning with him. Stephen A. Smith said that Bryce Young could go down as one of the worst number 1 overall picks in NFL history. Young has 243 passing yards, 3 interceptions, and has been sacked 6 times in 2 games this season. And the Panthers have been outscored 73 to 13. By the way, it is not Bryce Young's problem that the defense can't stop a lick, okay? And by the way, for everybody that loved the fact that the Giants brought Burns in, making that trade, oh boy, I don't think the Giant fans are going to be that could be one of the worst trades in NFL history if Burns doesn't figure things out. I'm just speaking the truth for you Giant fans. And maybe one of the better trades for the Carolina Panthers, because they got something for him, and Burns could be a bust, and they didn't want to pay him. And by the way, Garrett Wilson close to scoring here. Pretty pissed off that he didn't, but hey, whatever. I do think this is Bryce Young's final stay with the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, the organization has given up on him. When you take him out for Andy Dalton, that, to me, says a lot about what they feel about their future franchise quarterback. It's a sad situation. I think Ryan Leaf is absolutely right. They did wrong from him. I could say that about the New York Jets organization with Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez, and all the other quarterbacks, Christian Hackenberg. They've made mistakes. Teams, organizations make mistakes. That's a touchdown, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
100%
Beautiful
touchdown by
touchdown.
Garrett Wilson. Almost intercepted, by the way. That was a little costly right there. Almost intercepted. But
Garrett Wilson might be a top 3 receiver in the league.
No question. And I think that when him and Aaron Rodgers figures it out with each other, I think Garrett's going to have 12 to 13 touchdowns. I think he's a great pick in fantasy if you drafted him. But again, if you're sitting here right now and wondering, and Stephen A. Smith could be right, but I don't think he's the worst quarterback of all time at number 1. There's quite a few of them that we can name in the past. One of them named Russell. So I do remember Jamarcus Russell. I mean, he was pretty bad for the Raiders.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of them. I mean, there are tons of them. And the Browns I think we can name a couple of them from the Browns. So, and the Jets. I mean, not first round, not number 1 picks, but hey, unfortunately, they did wrong from him. His size was definitely a problem. He is not Russell Wilson, a guy that can move inside out of the pocket and make, accurate throws. He's not that type of quarterback. When he came out, a lot of people were questioning his size, his durability over there playing for Alabama. He also played in the SEC with Alabama with some of the best offensive line, the greatest coach of all time in college football. So there's a lot of questions on what type of player that he was going to be in the NFL. I think they made a mistake with CJ Stroud. I think they miscalculated the thought on what Bryce Young was going to be and didn't really see what CJ Stroud was doing over there at Ohio State. The problem is that people are going to look at what he has done on paper and say, 2 years, it's enough. It's enough watching Bryce Young. I'm done watching him. I do believe he deserves a second chance. I just think that Carolina gave up on him in the beginning of the offseason. I really do believe that bringing in Dave Canales, and everybody thought that they were bringing in Dave Canales to fix him. I do not believe they brought Dave Canales in. I thought Dave Canales was the best offensive coordinator available, what he did with Baker Mayfield. And if Bryce Young was not going to cut it with him, they were going to look elsewhere in the draft next year or the year after when Archie Manning or one of those other guys. I think Dave Canales was there for the long haul. I do not believe after what we saw last year, getting a coach fired in the middle of a season, who I think Frank Wright is a good offensive coordinator, a good coach, to give up on Frank Wright as quick as they did. I thought that it said a lot, and it really marked the thought on where this organization was going moving forward. I think it was Frank Wright's decision on drafting Bryce Young, not CJ Stroud. And I think the reason why they fired him as quick as they did is because Bryce Young couldn't cut it. And I think the NFL has figured him out as what he is as a quarterback. He's too small. He's too skinny, scrawny. The offensive linemen are just too big. Everybody says, look at Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's fast. He's got lightning feet. He can move inside of the pocket and make plays with his feet. This guy can't. He's not Drew Brees, who's 5'8", has an unbelievable arm and an accurate arm. He's not, I just said Russell Wilson at his size. He's not even guys like Justin Fields, who can use his legs to beat you. He has nothing. There's no strength that this kid has that can completely dominate a game. He played for Alabama. We've seen Alabama quarterbacks come in and come out of the league, and it completely sucked. Okay. How many Alabama quarterbacks ever became anything? I mean, Tua's the best one, and Tua's out again after his 6th or 5th concussion. It was a bad choice. Unfortunately, I do believe he deserves a second chance. I just don't know if any team's going to take a chance with him. And you're not going to get much for him, a.k.a. Zach Wilson. By the way, Drake May is coming in. So
very interesting. Yes, it's interesting because I do think the Panthers organization, since they switched ownerships, have been very dysfunctional as a whole, even before they drafted Bryce Young. At the same time, Bryce Young, a lot of the mistakes he's made are self-inflicted too. He's overthrowing receivers a lot, receivers that are open. And Frank Reich is a good enough offensive coach where he's worked with a lot of veteran quarterbacks, rebirthing them, and working with, once Andrew Luck retired, a lot of quarterbacks, we were talking about Jacoby, we said earlier, to get them to be competent.
Oh, he's not coming in. They have decided to sit him out for this play, but I guarantee you will see. If they don't score here, you're going to see Drake May.
Yeah. And Bryce Young, I think, has some traits that are very good where I think he still can develop with, like Stuart Schreiber was saying, maybe a better coach. But at the same time, the Panthers' offensive weapons, whether Canales becomes a good coach or not, I still have hope for it. But again, it's a bad start, 60-point differential is not good. You still need that guy that trusts him. Maybe it's Baker Mayfield 2.0. Baker Mayfield had bad coaching at the beginning of his career. Hugh Jackson and then Freddie Kitchens was absolutely terrible. Maybe it's another situation like that. Maybe he just needs to change the scenery because the Panthers have been just a dysfunctional mess. They're turning into one of the worst runs organizations we've seen. The Broncos, maybe they're the AFC version of that, and maybe the Panthers right now are the NFC. But he still has his own flaws to figure out too.
Why did the Jets slide? I mean, what was that defense? I mean, did you see what's his name again? I don't know who it was. He slid on the ground. He would not hit Jacoby Brissett. I don't know if anybody just saw it. He just fell to the ground and slid like a first baseman because he didn't want to hit Jacoby Brissett. I mean, come on, guys. Well, what the hell is that? And this is Robert Saleh's defense. They step back and they play prevent defense when they have such a big lead. It's ridiculous. I mean, burn a hole in them. Show them. The Patriots have done that forever to you as an organization. Why aren't you doing it to them? I just don't understand it. You're giving him time to throw the ball, playing prevent defense. That's not going to win you football games. It's not over yet. You're still in the second quarter. You still have 4 minutes left. They score here. They're back in this. It doesn't make sense. Robert Saleh, another. Just stupid coaching. Bambi is back again. Okay.
Bambi has to call it an elegant defense that is very passive.
It's ridiculous. I mean, this team is do they realize here comes a touchdown? A penalty? Is this a penalty?
I don't think
so. No. Thank
Yep.
God.
I think the hit came after the ball was passed.
No, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty.
That's gonna be PI.
That's
No.
passing inter.
Oh, even more. It's
What?
too offsetting.
So, you're ahead of us. You're ahead of us. So we don't know what's
Sorry
going
about that. I'll stop.
on. Yeah, you're way ahead of us. Here, we're still.
Yeah, honestly, you guys have predicted everything. This is what's going to happen. They're giving it away. They're trying to let them back in. Then they're going to hit Jamar. Then they're going to hit the quarterback, and then Drake May is going to have to come in like Brian Cox all over again. And it's Brady for another 20 years, but it's Drake May. Domination of the AFC East once again.
Fish, I don't know if I told you this. The only Jets game I ever been at, they were honoring Mo Lewis at the start of the game.
Yeah, jeez.
I don't want to sit here and I hope
Mo-licious.
Yeah, well, enough said with the whole Bryce Young situation. Kyler Murray is strong, absolutely, Keith. I think Kyler Murray, you can't compare these.
That's the point I was going to make. The one that Keith just said. They list Bryce Young at 5'10", 205. There's no way Bryce Young is 5'10", 205.
No,
Bryce Young's probably He's 5'9" and change at best, and he's $180 soaking wet. That dude is not able to put up with the punishment that Kyler Murray does. He doesn't have the same speed as Kyler Murray. And the problem is he can't see over the defense. And he's guessing because he's getting shell shocked, because he's running into sacks. He doesn't know how to set protections for some reason. I don't know if that's a common thing with Alabama quarterbacks and why they don't succeed. But I'll tell you right now, the reasons what we're seeing here is he's just getting sacked because he doesn't know what's going on in front of him. It's a problem, and that's why the quarterback, Canales, is abandoning ship right away. You just know you can't win with a guy that can't set protections.
There's no doubt.
Can't see downfield.
There's no doubt there's a huge problem right now with the Panthers, and they're digging deep. That's why they brought Canales in. I think it's a big mistake. What they're doing with Bryce Young, sitting him out, because now he loses confidence. Yeah. So now why would you bring him back this year? You're not bringing him back this year. There's no way he comes back unless
they have to trade him.
They either have to trade him or they go into the offseason and figure what they're going to do with him. I mean, toss him out as a piece of garbage. Maybe get a second and a fourth for him. I mean,
they're not getting that much if they wait to the offseason. They got to do it now.
The Jets got that for Sam Darnold. So why couldn't they do that? I mean, it could happen.
Sam Darnold showed some signs of life.
I mean, it's very there it is. That's intentionally grounding. What is that? That's intentionally grounding.
I'm sorry. Brissett is trash. I don't care what anyone says. He's not very good.
Gone.
He can't push the ball downfield.
He's gone now. There comes Drake May. He's walking. He's limping off the field. Drake May is coming on the field no matter what.
There it is, Fish. Your origin story.
There it is.
Patriots.
It's the origin story of the great Drake May. Starts tonight.
Now the real question: who will be the
We've
Giants?
all been waiting for this
In 8 years.
We all know who it's gonna be. A Tommy DeVito.
In 8 years.
That'll be the story. Like he disappeared.
We got a lot
having him for 6 years.
Can we stop here?
We thought that he got hit by the mafia. No, I'm just kidding.
ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. said that he thinks 2 high safeties on the defense should be outlawed from the NFL. He added that every team should have at least one safety playing towards the line of scrimmage, like a linebacker. He mentioned this rule should be in place to limit bad quarterback play. NFL insider Michael Lombardi said on the Pat McAfee show that the problem is the teams and players don't practice enough to beat those schemes. Pat McAfee also fired back at Kiper saying, we don't have the quarterbacks we used to. ESPN's Mina Kimes mentioned teams like the Saints and the Cardinals have had great offenses this season running the ball against the defensive schemes. Only 5 quarterbacks have thrown 300 yards in a game this season. I mean, that's a problem, obviously. 5 quarterbacks, ladies and gentlemen. 5 quarterbacks that have thrown 300 yards. What it tells me right now is they're trying to find ways to open up the offense again for the quarterbacks. It doesn't make any sense. Why keep changing the game and the way it's played? It's working fine. Why? Because the defensive schemes are figuring things out and not letting wide receivers break out and put up 100 yards every single game, it doesn't make any sense. Now, I understand what Mel Kiper is saying. We heard Stuart Schweiger say that he likes it. He's a defensive player. I'm very surprised that he would come out and say that. It doesn't make sense. And Pat McAfee is absolutely right. The quarterback play isn't the same. There's one quarterback that's been dominant, Patrick Mahomes. Everybody else is up and down. Pat's right. There's no steady quarterback play. There is none. So again, what are they doing right now? They're trying to make it easier for the offenses. So you know what we're going to do? We're gonna change the safety play. We're gonna move this safety here and only keep one safety out there. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Why ruin the game the way it's played right now? It's working. There's still good offenses. Now, obviously, there's only 5 quarterbacks that have 300-yard games. So what? So what? Last year, the defenses figured it out too. There will be breakout games. There will be. I think right now, Aaron Rodgers has a chance to break 300 yards tonight. That's another one. So why are you trying to change the game? Now, again, the NFL thinks that they know more than everybody else does. They're smarter than everybody. They're wrong. They're wrong. These game changes, the NFL has made mistakes. It doesn't work. By the way, look at the injuries that they have right now. Cooper Kupp, Nakua, all these guys. And it has nothing to do with protecting the players because it's the field. If you care so much about protecting the damn players and the quarterback, change the goddamn fields.
Yes, I know you were on to fire in on this one, so I'll let you go.
Change the fields. That's the problem. That's the problem right now in the NFL. The effing fields.
I think the problem is nobody knows how to teach the quarterback anymore, except for Andy Reid, who comes from a great lineage of great coaching from the West Coast system and Bill Walsh type era. There's not a lot of guys that know how to do this. You see, we thought Dable was this like quarterback whisperer with Josh Allen, and he was with Hurts in college at Bama for that year when they won, and had two of, all these guys. We think this, but really, what kind of offenses are they running over there? They're not running the read progression offenses that we saw guys like Peyton Manning run, that Tom Brady ran before him. And it's those offenses are extinct because nobody knows how to run them. They got so sophisticated, people forgot about it. And they're like, well, why don't we just do this spread stuff? We get fast guys to run, and then we'll just make some plays on the run because, Aaron Rodgers can kind of do that. So let's just do it that way. And then we don't have to teach the quarterback. And at the college level, it works.
And
now what do we have?
Mel Kiper, of course. And by the way, Allen's playing a lot more snaps. Is Breece Hall hurt? Is he hurt? Have we seen
I don't think he's been playing. I just think that, the game's kind of in hand now. Let's look at the bruiser on him. This is the game plan. They should have done this all along. They should be going to like a full heavy offense the rest of the way and just run the clock out with this guy Allen.
He
can do it.
They should, but they're not going to do that. And maybe Bambi will. I mean, he's an idiot.
Well, you score a touchdown, it'll be up 28-3 against the Patriots.
I think they should stick it down their throats. The Patriots have been doing that forever.
Look, getting back to this too high thing, which is crazy to me on so many levels, because offense and defense, the history of football, there's probably the best football book I ever read was Smart Football by Chris Brown. And all it was a back and forth history of how offense did this, and then defense adjusted by doing this type of formation. And then offense did the run and shoot. And then we had the 4-3-1 gap scheme of Jimmy Johnson. And then, we came out with more of a spread attack. And now you see Belichick comes out with the hybrid 2-gapping nose with the 3-4. And then just back and forth. And it's gone back and forth more since that book came out. And we know that's just how football goes. So right now, defense has the upper hand. Are you trying to tell me that offense isn't going to figure it out? Or we have to change? Now make two high safeties a legal defense? Where they're going to take technical field goals? Like technical foul shots, like illegal defense in basketball. Like what are we talking about here? This doesn't make any sense. You're going to throw a flag on a guy because the safety, instead of being at 5 yards even with linebacker depth, is at 8, at 10, at 12.
The only requirement is you have to have 4 guys on the line of scrimmage in some capacity. Like, why are you going to change anything else?
Well, I mean, that's what they're saying. It's easier to cover, deeper, and you can run different coverages at a 2 high safety. Generally, 2 high safety, you see people, you see man coverage, you see 2 over man. but also quarters coverage has been very popular. Is a great way to cover 4 quarters coverage or matching quarters. And it's kind of like a man switching kind of concept. You can be more aggressive in the run game in the alleys because you have safeties in the alleys, and they're kind of coming. It's a much more aggressive defense against the run and the pass. So people are saying, well, we can't run against them, we can't throw against them. It's not fair. Defenses have such an advantage. But don't we remember that the defenses aren't allowed to hit the quarterback anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That the defenses aren't allowed to hit anybody coming over the middle anymore.
Drop tackle.
That corners and safeties can't even tackle at the by using their leverage on a big bruising back because that's a hip drop now. Get out of here with this. Mel Kiper just needs to just be quiet until draft time. And
he just has to retire.
He's got to stop drafts. His drafts are terrible anyways. His boards are terrible. I mean, he's been wrong on almost every single board that he's drafted on in the last 40 years. The guy's an idiot. All right, Sami, your thoughts?
This sounds horrible. This sounds like the most.
Stewart likes it.
This sounds like
the only one that likes it.
The goofiest, the dumbest. Like, I don't understand what this. You know what this also sounds like too? You guys know what the FCF is, the fan controlled football league, where like you get to control like your whatever plays you get to pick or whatnot.
It's like Madden. That's what we're watching.
It's like you're playing a video game. They stream it on Twitch and everything too. Why is it that we're complaining about bad QB playing, bad and low scoring? And like, you might as well have Goodell and the owners and the commentators up there running the plays saying, hey, we want to see this so they can have something to talk about. You would like that, right? That sounds like a great idea.
I like anything that has anything to do with Roger Goodell being on the field so I can kick the you-know-what out of him. I would love to hit Roger Goodell. By the way, Roger Goodell's a pretty big guy, but I would love to run a couple of times in his body, knock him out. I mean, he's making $55 million. He might as well put his body on the line anyways. Piece of garbage. I mean, seriously.
We are in this is another thing I want to iterate. We are in week 2. Week 2 going on. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we're in week 3. We are now in week 3. There is still 15 weeks left. Calm down. You will get your offense, Mel. Kiper. You'll get your offense.
Now we're seeing Davis. Now we're getting a chance to see Davis, the running back, on the field. It's a bit of multiple. Now they got two running backs set. Here it is. I know it. I know you said something. I know it happened.
Oh, look, Roger's gonna get 50 more yards, and then he'll get his over 300.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna break 300. He's definitely. They're gonna make
in the 90s. In the 90s of Florida, Steve Spurrier did a lot of like backs coming out of the backfield on angle routes and flat routes, trying to mimic what a slot receiver would do, and it became like very popular for a while. But it was more like under center back then. If you do it as split back or pistol with like kind of the other guys in shotgun and kind of offset like a fullback almost, but not really, you can get away with a lot of those plays. I know you're not running option with Aaron Rodgers, but you don't have to get 2 great running backs. And then use the H as the blocking fullback to lead across for Braylon Allen when you want to do power, and then do some outside stuff or cutback stuff with Hall. It's just too easy. Just do it, and then let Aaron Rodgers carve him up.
Stupid penalties. Yahoo Sports reports that the NFL could change rules to kicking more difficult because kicking more is difficult. Former kicker Michael Husted suggested that the NFL could narrow the uprights or raise the crossbar higher. He also added that a lot of kickers today are better athletes rather than being the skinny guy on the team. Former kicker Mike Hollis also added that the kickers got less time to get chemistry with their long snapper and holder as they did in the past. Speedy, you spelt it wrong. Ever since the Tony Romo botched snap in the playoffs in 2006, most teams use punters instead of quarterbacks. Former 15-year kicker. What happened over here?
Morgan Moses is down.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you got Olu time now. He's already on the field. It looked bad. He went down, and he looked like he was in a ton of pain. It could be a leg broken.
Nick Novak thinks it's unnecessary to narrow the goalpost of kicks over 50 yards this season. Kickers are 37 for 39, with both misses, oddly enough, coming from Justin Tucker. There should be no changes with the kickers. It should be no changes of narrowing the crossbar, raising it up. I don't want to hear it. They're skinnier, they're bigger, they're stronger. Who cares? What do you want? You want the kickers to tackle now? It's ridiculous. But let's bring them in the defense. Why don't we do that? The kickers have bigger legs than half the defensive players. I mean, they're probably bigger than the offensive linemen. Wait, this doesn't make sense. And again, the NFL trying to make rules and change rules to make it better. There's nothing that needs to be changed right now. As you see, 37 for 39 when it comes to kicks. Justin Tucker was the only one that missed both kicks. And out tonight, obviously, we saw one of the Jets, Greg the Leg, missed a kick. But nevertheless, Mike Hollis, who we've had on the show, is absolutely right. They're absolutely right. They should build chemistry with the long snapper and the holder. Why aren't they doing that? Again, the NFL is always trying to spin the wheel and make the deal. It doesn't make any sense. And again, the NFL is always trying to make the game better. How does this make the game better? You want to make the game better? Get rid of kickers altogether. Get them gone. It doesn't make sense. By the way, I know a lot of kickers that we've had on the show would think I'm an idiot, and Mike Hollis being one of them, Adam Vinatieri being another one, because he's had more points and more kicks for points than Peyton Manning thrown for touchdowns and points. So it just tells you what Adam Vinatieri did for 20 some odd years. Here's the problem. When you look at the league and the transition of the different rules and regulations of the new penalties and the calls and the kickoff returns and everything like that, does it benefit the league in the long haul? Does it? And the answer is it doesn't. Why take away something that's worked for many, many years? Why try to change something that has benefited teams winning Super Bowls? Ask the Patriots. Ask many different teams that have won Super Bowls because of the kicker. The kicker wins it, not the quarterback, not the defense, not the offensive line, not the safeties, not anything. The kickers are so very important. If you don't have a good kicker, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. You're going to need that kicker one way or another. So what is the turnaround here to make this better? To make the uprights higher? To make it harder? Why? He's walking off the field. He is hurting, but he's walking off the field. So that's a good sign. Mm-hmm. That's a good sign. Now, I don't know what it is. It could be a sprained MCL. That's what it could be. But you see Fashanu. You're going to get the chance to see Olu Fashanu. Hopefully he stays healthy. I don't want to see anybody go down now. But
still could be an ACL or something if he's walking, but race is not broken.
He's got a lot of weight on that ACL. He actually is walking off the field. I think if it's anything, he sprained himself. It looks like a sprain. He's walking on it. He's putting weight on it. So I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. I'm sure of it.
I always thought Olu was going to take over for him anyway at some point halfway through the season.
I think he's going to take over for Smith. I think they're going to move Olu eventually over there if Smith goes down. That's what I thought. I think Olu is the left tackle. I think he looked fantastic in the preseason, by the way. Looked absolutely fantastic.
You're going to get a look now.
Yeah, well, we'll get a look. Speedy, whose ass are you going to be spanking tonight?
What are you even talking about?
Are you going to spank somebody's ass tonight?
No.
Why not?
It's stupid.
Well, it's stupid to spank somebody's ass? Why does the coaches do that?
I don't know. Ask them.
Well, you said it's stupid.
Ask them.
I'm asking you.
I'm asking your call.
Why do they smack their asses?
I don't know.
All right, so it's not obviously that's so stupid. I mean, a lot of.
I'm not a football coach.
Well, in football, you do have to go under center sometimes.
Speedy likes to grab under center, right, Speedy? You don't like to grab anything under center? I like to grab.
Okay.
You want me to be the quarterback and you be my my center?
No.
That would be cool, right?
No.
No. I don't know if I could find them, but if I do, I mean, it would be a pretty good set. Fourth and 2. Speedy, we're gonna have to go low on this. What do you think? You think you could block for me?
No.
Then what are you going to do?
Tush push.
Tush push. I'll push your tush.
No, you won't.
I mean, do you want to push my tush?
No.
All right. Whose tush you want to push?
No.
No what?
I'm not involved in that.
I like the tush push.
All right. Go train for the Eagles next year.
The Orange County Register reports there's still a chance that Shohei Ohtani could pitch in the playoffs. Dave Roberts and Ohtani is progressing from surgery well, and could see him pitching in either the starting as a starter or in the bullpen role. Roberts said that he kept Ohtani in a designated hitter role all season, anticipating he could come back. Ohtani is also 2 home runs and 1 stolen base away, which he did it tonight, by the way. He breaks the record, so I don't even have to say it. Ohtani had his surgery about a year ago and is expected to face hitters in a live batting practice next week. The Dodgers just got back Yamamoto from last week, but also lost starting pitchers Gavin Stone, Tyler Glasnow, and Clayton Kershaw to injuries. So, wow. By the way, congratulations to Shohei Ohtani having the game of his life. 6 for 6, 10 RBIs, 3 home runs. I mean, he's unbelievable. Why would you put him back on the mound? Why would you put him back on the mound when he's doing what he's doing? It doesn't make any sense. You're putting him out harm's way. You got a guy that's doing 50-50 and doing what he's doing. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what the Dodgers are thinking. But again, the Dodgers are not a very classy or smart organization, as we all know. Let's ask Fernandez when he was throwing, chairs, at the dugout. Remember that? I think everybody remembers Fernandez doing that. I remember Oral Hershiser cursing on the mound when they, in the 90s when they won their last World Series. Remember that? Screaming at the other dugout at the
Bulldog.
Yeah. So, guys, I mean, honestly, as an organization, and by the way, we're going to probably see Drake May. It seems like that's.
Oh man.
So, expect it. There we go. There's a hit right there. There we go.
You guys are playing pretty stupid, getting personal foul penalties, doing dumb stuff.
Well, thank you
for the Drake May 18-point comeback on the way.
I doubt that's going to happen. In 14 minutes. I don't know if he's going to do that, but
Drake May, the Bambi hunter.
Bambi's pissed off. Bambi's screaming. Morgan Moses is walking off the field. He looks. I obviously they're going to check. They're going to give him an MRI.
No.
I do not believe it's a tear in his ACL. I don't believe it. But it was a stupid penalty. So he's pissed off, as you can see. But we'll see. I don't know. That's not a good sign. What happened here? Here we go.
That's
great. Great move. Great play. He's probably not going to have a job at the end of the week. Good old Bambi. Charles, who the hell is this guy?
Oh.
What an idiot. What an idiot. What a fool. How stupid could you be? I mean, you're winning the game. It's 21-3. How stupid could you be?
That's how you get cut from teams.
I mean,
that's a fringe player.
Well, he's going to be cut probably. I mean, you look at Bambi. He's probably rocking with Gumby. Remember Gumby?
Sure, Aaron Rodgers.
They don't remember Gumby.
On the phone right now.
They don't remember.
They definitely don't remember Gumby. No way.
Alf.
You guys have you ever heard of Gumby or Alf? Either one of you?
I've heard of Alf. Gumby, no.
Alf's my man. He's my man. We got Brissett. Is that Brissett or May?
That's Brissett.
I think they're probably better off keeping Brissett.
You guys are more than 8 or 9 seconds. You're like a 30 seconds behind me.
Whatever, man. Well, don't give us any information. By the way, they dropped the ball, so the Jets have the ball.
Hey,
look at Robert Sala. Look at Rampy. He runs out on the field. By the way, what is he wearing? I mean, he's wearing pants. What is he wearing? Like his kids, his high school pants or something like that? Does anybody see what he's wearing on the sidelines? Bambi is trying to come out with a new style. I mean, what the hell is that? There is no reason why Shohei Ohtani should be playing as a pitcher at any point this season. I don't care if you have a chance to win a World Series. You do not put him in harm's way. And right now, when you see what he's doing, putting up a 50-50, having the game of his life, having the career season that he's had, it just doesn't make any sense. He is going to win the MVP of the National League. There's no question he's going to win the MVP. It looks like Aaron Judge will be the MVP of the American League. And a lot of people's thoughts is they might meet in the World Series. The 2 MVP guys are going to meet in the World Series. But to sit here and wonder what the hell is Roberts thinking? We all know Roberts is an idiot. I mean, who doesn't think that Roberts is an idiot? I don't know how he still has a job right now. They kept Don Manley too long. They kept Joe Torre too long. And now they're keeping Roberts too long. I don't care if he won a World Series. Me and you could have won the World Series with that team and that talent. This team has been an absolute bust. And by the way, Shohei Ohtani is having an amazing year. He deserves the MVP of the National League, not somebody on the Mets. So Lindor, anybody that thinks Lindor should be the MVP, shame on you to think that. This thought to putting Ohtani back on the mound this year, even next year, is stupid. He is a DH. You can win with Ohtani moving forward as just a DH. You're protecting this guy. You're paying him. How many years did he sign for? 10, 11? You're putting him in harm's way. If he throws his shoulder out another time, there's a question if he's going to be able to hit again. I mean, you're putting him in harm's way. I think it's a dumb move for the Dodgers. Terrible move.
The Dodgers right now are actually overcoming something they normally are bad at. They actually have a decent bullpen. So the thought to put him in the bullpen is a mistake as it is, because they actually have some young relievers that are actually playing well. And I know there's a couple starters that have gone down to. Gavin Stone was actually playing very well for them, but they also have some young starters that have played well recently. Now, Bobby Miller was one of them that just got demoted, but he was playing well before that. And they're going to get Kershaw back at some point. Now, playoff Kershaw obviously is never anything good anyway, but nevertheless, you're going to get enough depth to make it work. The only time the Dodgers would actually do that is probably later in the postseason if they do that. You can't have him rush him back right now. I know it's a 1-year anniversary. I can't imagine that kind of thing working right away where he's effective against hitters in the first round. Now, they have the bye. They're probably going to have the bye, luckily, unless the Brewers somehow streak into the second seed all of a sudden, but they just clinched the division, so they're going to rest their starters. I can't imagine the Dodgers would push any further, maybe until Game 7 of the NLCS or an elimination game then to ever think about that kind of thing. And even so, you have to be very careful with it as it is. Let him practice against the hitters in batting practice, fine. Let him get used to that aspect of it again. But throwing him in the fire in the playoffs, that's very fireable for Dave Roberts.
If you score right here, do you take Aaron Rodgers out? I think you take him out. There's no reason to keep him on the field. I think it's a big mistake if they do that. If he scores here, take him out of the game. And by the way, Ola looks pretty good. He does. He looks pretty good. I mean, he hasn't given up a sack. He's holding. I think he's the real deal. I already thought Fashanu was going to be the real deal. So I think every Jet fan thought Fashanu was going to be. Hopefully Morgan Moses does come back this year. You don't want to lose a big key player like that, but we'll see. He was walking off the field. He wasn't happy. And usually when they get off the field, they're going to give you the MRI and it doesn't look good, but he walked on his own terms. So it could be an MCL sprain. That's what it looked like. That's what I think it is. I didn't think he tore anything. That's just my opinion. We will see. It doesn't look good for the Patriots now, losing another player. So,
Keith says, I'm Gumby, damn it.
Yes, you are Gumby, Keith.
Gumby. The last 3 home run, 10 RBI game I remember is A-Rod. A-Rod did that to Bartolo Colon years ago when he was on the Angels, and he hit monster shots when he was, eating the gummy bears out in the infield.
Oh, I love Gumby.
But
my favorite.
But they're saying that this 6-for-6 outing he had with this 2 stolen bases included, with 5 extra base hits, they're saying it's the greatest statistical game of all time.
Worms.
Dating back to like forever. The greatest game of all time, they're saying. The thing is, they could have Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani at the top of their order, but if they have no pitching, they can't do this without another pitcher in their staff. They may have to rely on Ohtani at least for a few innings. They still.
That's why I said later round, like a second round. I don't. Again, if they need it for that's a 5-game series, but again, they don't need it for they're gonna have the bye.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As soon as they get into actual playoffs, who do they have that's a playoff pitcher? The Glasnow's done. Kershaw is not. It's
Buehler if he come back to his form again. He's been a good playoff.
Buehler was not good this year.
Not this year. No.
And he hasn't been good in a few years, and he's had injuries. So sometimes guys just never bounce back, and it's very concerning. But they have some offense, and are you trying to tell me that Scott Hatteberg in the movie Moneyball can learn how to play first base enough for them to win 22 straight games? You can't teach Ohtani first base or something like that. This guy's super athlete
right now.
You know what I mean? In the course of this contract, you could put you're trying to tell me you can't play a halfway decent right field? Are you trying to tell me that, or even left field, whatever's better for him?
Probably left field.
You trying to tell me that you can't
to learn because it's
over there at left?
Weaker arm required and less strain on that, so that would probably be the way to go.
Yeah, let's.
But he doesn't have a weak arm. You don't want him covering so much ground, though.
Yeah, right.
So for me, the question is, do you? There's 3 different ways they can go with this, right? They can just leave him as DH, number one. They could bring him back as a starter, and just hope that he doesn't hurt himself again, and he gives what he did the year before when he was a Cy Young candidate. And then the other option is he's your super reliever. You know, you give him a couple of days off, and it's like he's throwing bullpens. You give him like 15 pitches, and he's like your closer or your high leverage guy during the playoffs.
Ease him back into that is what I'm saying. Like maybe don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 15 pitches. You know, it's something like that, and then you try to like maybe get him to get to 5 innings. You know, by the World Series if you get there. Like I don't really know what else you do if you're trying to bring him back as a starter because you just can't. He's in the middle of this historic season. No one's ever gone 50-50. He may end up 55-55. I mean, if he has, games like this, who even knows what he's capable of doing? He's going to catch Judge if he keeps this up.
Thank you, obviously, to Fish for doing what he does with the graphics and giving us his content. Thank you to Scoops with his Sports Minute. Anyways, thank you to all the fans. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We really appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Monday. Good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.